What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I want to welcome you, my guest from the Mic'd Up Sports channel, Big Mike. How's it going, Mike?
What is up, Jimmy? I've been waiting all day to do this freaking show.
So, today we are going back in time. We are in a time machine and we're going to take you back to August 12th, 1991.
Is that time machine under 1.23 gigawatts?
Not exactly, but we're in the right vicinity. But yeah, we're going back in time. We're going to revisit Metallica's Black Album. I don't know.
I love this album.
I mean, for me, this was the album that put Metallica on the map. I mean, I know growing up, I've heard of Metallica. We all have heard of Metallica. They've been around since the 70s. This was actually their fifth album since the band started. But yeah, this was the album.
I think Injustice for All might have put them on the map a little bit.
Well, Justice for All was the one right before this one. Yeah, and Justice for All was 88, and then 91 was the Black Album.
Yeah, and that's when and they actually said that on one of the fact things that we watched on that YouTube video.
Yeah.
That Laws said when they won the Grammy for the Black Album, he was very happy that Jethro Tull was not in the category because he still claims to this day Injustice for All would have won that Grammy if it wasn't for that Jethro Tull album.
I mean, Injustice for All, and it was this album actually, the Black Album, that Bob Rock, the producer, told them that maybe their songs need to be. Well, I think they decided to. The songs should be a little bit shorter. They felt that their songs were a little bit too long, and that maybe people weren't enjoying it as much. So they said, maybe we got to write different style songs. And
that's kind of funny, though, considering after this album, the Revolver thing you sent me, the last fact about it was that after this album, they didn't want to work with each other anymore.
Yeah. Just different little facts that went on with this album. I believe it was Rolling Stone that reported in the first week of its release, it sold over 650,000 copies. I mean, that's
and back then, that's a lot of copies.
Yeah. I mean, I know different sites say different things. Wikipedia said 500. I mean, the numbers vary, but still, I mean, that's a lot. That's insane.
Well, I wouldn't go by Wikipedia because Wikipedia, a lot of people that go on to Wikipedia,
a lot of it's
a lot.
Yeah, I know.
And they'll change things around. I mean,
I would go by Rolling Stone. I think
I would go by Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone.
I would go by either Rolling Stone or Revolver. Even if Revolver said it, I would believe Revolver too with Rolling Stone.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, little facts about the album. Sad But True was originally written during the Master of Puppets. That's when they started writing Sad But True.
Yep.
And then by the time the album came, by the time it was time to do the Black Album, they did.
And Bob Rock actually told them to slow down the tempo in the song because it was too fast.
Exactly.
Which was actually the right idea, because
I mean,
we'll get into it later because like you said, we're gonna do like our 3 favorite songs from the album. So
but I mean, like I said, this was the album that put, like you said, you could say Injustice for All, and Justice for All was a great album, but to me, like, this album made me a Metallica fan.
Oh no, definitely. Like, I heard of Metallica throughout the years. Like, I knew some of their stuff, but I wasn't big on them, and that's
I didn't know much about them. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing with this album, though. They gained fans, but they also lost fans in the process because
they did. Yeah,
their hardcore fans feel like they
sold out a little bit.
They sold out, and as Laws said in that VH1 Behind the Music, he said, "Yeah, we sold out every fucking seat in the house."
Yeah. Exactly. And it wasn't that they sold out. I mean, like they said, even as time went on, the different albums that came on after, they got a little. They said, "Oh yeah, well maybe they got a little bit softer," and they said, "Yeah, well you know what? They got older."
Well, I think too, like when Laws cut his hair, I think that's when people started hating the newer style of Metallica with because Laws cut his hair. Then Laws started his shit with Napster too. So people were downloading the songs and they weren't getting royalties for them because because
I mean,
Napster.
it's understandable. They're losing money, so anybody's going to be upset about that.
But also telling your fans you hate them doesn't help much either, you know.
No, yeah. So this album, like I said, I had heard of Metallica. I've heard some of their albums, some of their songs, but I wasn't too familiar with them. This album made me love Metallica. I mean,
yeah.
Come on, Enter Sandman. As soon as I heard that riff in the beginning, I was like, "Oh wow, this is." And of course, when you think of this album, you think of the videos that MTV released during this time.
Yep.
I mean, that was when music videos were really even more popular.
Yep, and you know? Enter Sandman, Bob Rock's son was the kid in the video, doing the bedtime prayer.
Right. Yep.
And also, fun fact: ECW Sandman was the entrance for
Sandman. Yeah. So, Enter Sandman. I mean, you think about The Unforgiven. I mean, the videos were just as powerful as the song. Some videos are even better. I mean, Nothing Else Matters. That video was great. I mean, that video, they took you back into it looked like they were in the studio filming the video. I mean, it was amazing the way they did that video. It was one of their best videos, I think. But I mean, I don't even think they made a bad song on this album. The whole album was just great.
I don't think all of them were bad songs. I mean, I have my personal favorites.
So do I. Yeah, I mean, so do I. But there's there's not a bad song on the album. I don't think so.
Right.
But Nothing Else Matters was inspired by Queen. I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
I found out that James Hetfield heard a Queen song and he heard Brian May drum. I forgot what song it was, but he said that's kind of where I want to go with Nothing Else Matters. So it inspired him to write that. Enter Sandman was inspired by Soundgarden. I didn't know that either.
I was telling you earlier before we came on, Sad But True was going to be their Kashmir because they wanted a Zeppelin feel to it. Mm-hmm. Also, Laws channeled, I believe he said, the late Charlie Watts, who just passed away a couple weeks ago from the Rolling Stones. And I believe the drummer also from AC/DC. I don't know his name.
Yes. Yeah, correct. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but yeah. So this, I mean, when I remember getting the CDs, you know, when I was a kid, when I first got my first stereo, was probably a year or two after the Black Album came out. And I was telling one of our friends that this was actually the fourth CD that I had ever owned. So I'd gotten Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, U2 Octune Baby, and then Metallica, the Black Album.
I told you, I think the very first album I bought was it was REM. It was the album with
Automatic for the People. Was that it?
No, that
was
no
91. Yeah.
Automatic for the People, I believe, was no, it wasn't. No, it was the one before that.
Out of Time with Losing My Religion on it.
That one.
Yeah.
But that one came out in 90, I thought. But whatever, I bought that one, but I know Metallica was one of the first 5 I bought in my life.
Right. But so this album, I mean, this was the album that it made, and I think it just gave them a whole new generation of fans, was because of this album. Like, they had their fans from their previous albums, but this album, like you said, they might have lost some fans, but I think they gained even more fans.
I think they gained more fans because they went more mainstream and more into radio.
Exactly.
Because, like, the only time
they got more airplay on the radio.
Because you got to remember, because back in the day when MTV actually played videos for our younger viewers watching this, MTV used to play actual music videos and not 24/7 reality shows.
Yeah. They ruined
Okay,
it. Yeah, MTV
we
ruined it.
actually watched music videos on MTV.
God, I miss MTV.
Now, the only time that you really wanted to watch, like if you really wanted to see a Metallica video, was at midnight when Headbangers Balls with Headbangers Ball with
Ricky
Ricky
Rackman.
Rackman used to
Yep.
come on. Then you were able to see one Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
What was the name of that song where the video was they were using a movie, like it was a, and the guy was like,
Was it black and white?
yeah, it was a black and white
That was
movie.
the Unforgiven. That was the. I think that.
No. It was one of the earlier songs. I forgot the damn name of it, but it was when they were using this. I think it was Johnny Get Your Gun was the name of the movie. And he was like a war hero or something, and then he got his, and then he got like he was blind, and they wrapped his head up in something, and they were using Morse code. But during the whole time, they were actually using the song.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot. I don't know. Was it one that was?
I think that might have been one, Mike.
It might have been one, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I actually love that song.
One's probably one of my favorites. So, I mean, yeah,
that was one of my favorite songs. And Master of Puppets was very good as well.
Not to take away from the Black Album, but yeah, one is definitely.
But that's when I
that was
started
Injustice for All. Yeah,
yeah, mm-hmm. That's when I started seeing what Metallica was like. I said, "Wow, these guys aren't that bad."
Mm-hmm.
But then when the Black Album came out, and like you said, I mean, you're looking at a total. I actually have the playlist here. 12 songs, 9 or 10 out of the 12 were actually like you can listen to like all the time.
Over and over and over again. Yeah. Never get tired. I mean, I was listening to Metallica right before we went on. I said, I got to get pumped. I got to get ready for the show.
Yeah, I actually listened. I actually put on a few songs from their playlist on their YouTube channel. And I was actually listening to a few just to get some memories back. And I was like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, I mean, to think about the Black Album, I remember when I first heard it, before I actually got the CD, I would be with my cousin and my friends. We'd be going a Great Adventure to Six Flags, pumping the Black Album in his convertible on the way there. I remember listening to it.
And how many times my father had to tell me to lower the stereo when I was upstairs in my bedroom.
Man.
I mean, I was still living in Queens back in the day, so I was on the second level. He was downstairs, and I would just start blasting the Black Album. He'll just start screaming up like, "Shut that shit off!"
I literally played this album religiously. I mean, when I moved from Brooklyn, I moved a lot when I was a kid. When I moved from Brooklyn and I moved to Queens, that's when I first got the stereo. I was blasting it. Then I remember going to Pennsylvania. I was living in the Poconos with my mom at the time. I was like, I just had maybe 15 years old, pumping the Black Album, blasting it on the stereo, that the fucking house would shake. That I had one of my neighbors that lived, and it's not like Brooklyn where your neighbors would be right next door. The guy came across, he was knocking on my door, and he's like, I opened it up, I said, "Yeah, can I help you?" He said, "Can you lower the music? I can't hear my TV." I told him, "Turn your TV louder," and I shut the door on his face. Who lowers music? I mean, come on. We're from Brooklyn. When you listen to music, when you listen to Metallica, you listen to it loud. You don't listen to it loud. Yeah. I mean, come on. Everybody knows that.
I mean, that's why they call it headbanging music,
I mean, and I was never really a metal fan. And I know a lot of people consider Metallica to be metal.
Yeah.
And I guess they could be metal to a certain extent. But I wouldn't exactly.
I know they were metal.
They were.
They were heavy metal back in the 80s. When this came out, they weren't metal anymore.
Yeah.
They became pop. I mean, let's get it straight.
This album made them more popular, I think. I think this, like I said, this was the album that made me a Metallica fan. I think it spawned, like I said, it spawned a generation of fans for years to come.
Yeah.
Anybody who's never heard this album, I mean, you put it on once.
I mean, to be honest, this is the first and only Metallica album I bought.
Yeah.
That's how good the album was. Like I didn't buy the other stuff. I basically, yeah, as a joke, I went to an Uncle Kracker concert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually go to VIP, and I actually got to see him.
Yeah.
He signed all 3 of my CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And he was impressed, like, holy shit, you got 3 of them? I said, yeah. He goes, you are a fan. I said, yes, I am. Like, but Metallica, though,
mm-hmm.
I would just have them sign the sleeve to the CD, or the cover thing to the CD.
Yeah.
Will only be the Black Album. I wouldn't bring like every CD that Metallica had, because I didn't have him.
Yeah,
that's how good this album was. For me to buy something that I never bought this band's music ever in my life, that's how good the music was to me.
Yeah, yeah. But see, even though you said that, like, for me, like, it was, like I said, because of this album that made me a fan. It was because of this album that I turned me on to listen. I said, let me see what else they got. And I started listening to their older stuff. And I said, you know what? They got a lot of fucking good songs that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're a kid, like with the Black Album, I was a teenager. I was like 13 years old when the album came out. So when you're listening to an album, like, I don't know how you were, but when I was a kid, when I'm listening to an album, I wouldn't listen to every single song, one right after another. I would listen to a song. If I liked it, I would keep it on. Then I said, all right, let me check out the next one. If I wasn't sure how I liked it, I would right away move on to the next song. Sometimes I wouldn't actually like a song until later on.
See, my way of buying CDs, well, when I was younger, back in the day, was I listened to, like, whenever their new tracks came out. So, like, for me, I would have to wait for, like, the 3rd song to come out onto radio or MTV. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if I like those 3, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy the album, because pretty much.
I mean, and that's a good way to look at it. If
and that's the way I've done it.
Yeah.
Like, even with bands I like I have 2 REM CDs when I was younger. I bought Automatic for the People, like you said, and then Out of Time. What was it? Out of Time.
Out of Time. Yeah.
I bought that one. Those are the 2 REM ones I bought, because I like those 2 very much.
Right.
Other certain ones I bought too, like, I hate to say it, I was a Nickelback fan back in the day. Not Nickelback now. Nickelback in the past.
Yeah, I've seen them twice in concert already. Yeah.
Okay, and I don't care. Like, everybody makes fun of people who are Nickelback fans, but that's like WWE fans making fun of AEW fans. Like, like when we do our wrestling shows on my channel.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you like Nickelback? I'm like, oh, you like AEW? Yeah, I like Nickelback. Sorry, I think the fucking music is great. It's the same song, just played 12 different times on the album. I said, yeah, but it's done differently. So what the hell's the difference?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. What you like is what you like.
Right. So, like, when I heard, like, and that's how I went by my top 3 as well. When the first few songs came out that I heard. Mm-hmm. Those are my top 3, because that's what made me buy the album, was those 3 songs.
Right. And see, what would make me buy the album is, like, when you're a kid, you would hear the song on the radio, not just Metallica, but like any song. When you first hear a song, you're like, oh, and I've heard this so many times. Oh, I got to get it on tape. I got to record it. And then before you know it, oh, another one of the songs. Oh, I like this song too. Like you said, and based on that, you decide whether or not you want to buy the album or not.
You know how you really like a song? By the 3rd time you hear it on the radio or or MTV back in the day,
right?
And you knew the song word for word on the 3rd on the 3rd time.
Yeah,
you hooked on the song.
Yeah.
As Jimmy takes a sip of whatever beverage he's drinking.
It's fruit punch.
How about a nice Hawaiian punch?
So yeah, but like you said, but if you have like 3 or 4 songs that you like, chances are you're gonna like the album.
Exactly. And
Metallica.
That's what I said. 9 out of those 12 songs I really like.
Yeah, and at least 5 of these songs of this album were major hits. Were not major hits, but singles that were released from the album.
Yeah, I think Enter Sandman, Sad But True, The
Yep.
Unforgiven,
Yep.
Wherever I May Roam,
Yep.
Nothing Else Matters. Those were the main five that were on the album that were big.
Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, like I said, and this album, it was because of this album that made me listen to us. So let me see what else they got. Oh, let me listen to some of their earlier stuff. And I said, you know what? I really like this band. And honestly, but it was because of the Black Album, they became one of my favorite bands of all time, without a doubt. And in 2017, I was actually able to get to see them live at MetLife Stadium, one of the greatest shows I've seen in my life. I've been to quite a few shows in my lifetime. That was definitely up there, without a doubt. Metallica, Aerosmith, Stones, Foo Fighters, Petty. So many good shows that I've seen. But Metallica, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Then they did a fireworks show at the end. Insane.
So they had some pyro going on.
Oh, it was great, man. Great. You can't go wrong. Metallica, yeah. I would go see them 100 times. That's how great they are.
And you are right. It was one with the Johnny Get Your Gun. I just
okay.
Yeah. I just pulled it up on YouTube.
I thought so. I'm sitting there listening to you. I'm going, I think that was, yeah. I said, now I'm thinking about it. I said, yeah. Not only one of their longest songs, but definitely one of the best songs of all time, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to pick, if you had to pick three of your favorite songs from this album, what would be your number three?
Enter Sandman.
Okay, so your three is Enter Sandman. All right, my three is definitely Nothing Else Matters. That's my number three. I mean, it's an incredible song. Just the guitar solo. And I don't know if you heard of it, but Chris Stapleton, you know who Chris Stapleton is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You like Chris Stapleton? He did
the country singer. I listen to him all the time. He's great.
Check it out on YouTube. He did a remake of Nothing Else Matters.
Are you kidding me?
Fucking incredible, dude.
I'm doing this after the show. Yeah.
Incredible. So what?
Angela hear it because Angela loves Chris Stapleton.
Dude, and it's amazing what he did with the song.
For anybody not know, on my channel, I know Angela is my wife. So just to say, I have Angela. Yeah, Angela is my wife, and she's a Chris Stapleton fan as well. He's a very good country singer, but he's great. He actually does a version with I believe it's Tennessee Whiskey, and he does it with Justin Timberlake. And
I've seen that. It's actually
it's on Crossroads on CMT. It's a really good version. Yeah. All right, so enough of country music. Let's get back to the album.
Yeah. Like I said, my number three, Nothing Else Matters. What about your number two?
I was torn on this. I had to flip-flop them back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Sad But True as my number two.
Great song.
Many reasons. I love the guitar in the beginning. Finding out what really the meaning was today while watching the facts, I thought that it was somebody's conscience talking to them, that it was a conscience telling them this.
I mean, honestly, that's what I would have thought too.
And that's what I thought. And
what'd you find out? Yeah.
And back then I was in a really bad place because my mom just died and I was struggling. I was 17. I was just like so down in the dumps, and like listening to this, I felt like it was me because I always had that, we always had that little voice in the back of our heads, and that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
According to the 30 facts that we watched on YouTube earlier, this was based on a movie called Magic.
Right.
That James Hetfield was watching.
Crazy movie.
It's about a guy the puppet's voice was done by Anthony Hopkins. Mm-hmm. And it's the puppet that controlled his owner.
Yeah.
Which I think would make more sense for Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
But the puppet basically is what
if you watch that movie, you wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night. You'd be like, don't
I don't watch shit like that. I'm sorry.
It was a good movie. Dude, it was a good movie though. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good movie.
But like but now that I heard what about, it's like, wow, okay, so basically the puppet is
Magic
the one.
is a classic. Yeah,
It's the puppet that's telling the story in the song.
exactly.
I always thought it was like the voice, like the little voice inside
like you
your
said,
head,
it's
your
self-conscious, and that's exactly how I would have took it too.
That's why I
I'm
took
your
it.
dream, make you real.
30
I'm
years,
your
30 years later, I'd be like, no, but like you said with the chorus, I'm your dream, make you real. I'm your eyes when you must steal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm your pain when you can't feel.
Sad but true.
True. Also, one more reason. American fucking badass. If you listen to Kid Rock, you put American Badass on. Yes, it is the guitar riffs of Sad But True.
Yep.
American Badass.
Everybody steals from everybody.
Yeah, and then American Badass became Undertaker's theme song for a while. So I mean,
so you said Sad But True is your number 2, right?
Yes.
So my number 2 is The Unforgiven. Incredible.
Very good song. Very good song.
I just love
that was actually my number 4. If we were doing a top 5, that was my number 4.
I just love the opening. Just like the I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the instrument that I'm thinking that that's a violin, right? Like that. It starts off like that a little bit, and then the guitar comes in.
I think so.
Incredible.
I mean, even at 30 Facts was like, they were telling stories where like the other albums they did, they were all performed separately.
Yeah.
And Bob Rock wanted everybody in one room together, and they actually made it more of a performance, like in a concert type feel.
Right.
Instead of just doing, okay, James is going to sing lead and play guitar. Laws is going to come in and do the riffs on the drums. Kurt's going to come in and he's going to play back up with the guitar behind James. And then Jason's going to come in, play bass. Yep. And no, Bob Rock wanted everybody there at once so that everybody was playing all at one time together.
Yep. So yeah, my number 2 is The Unforgiven. Incredible song. And I don't know if you probably know this, but I don't know who else knows. The song actually has 2 sequels that were on 2 other albums. So they made Unforgiven 2 and Unforgiven 3 sequels to the song, which they're all incredible songs.
Yeah.
But Unforgiven is my number 2. What about your number 1?
Can I sing it?
Do whatever you want.
Am I allowed to sing it?
Oh, well, don't sing the whole fucking song. We don't get that much time.
We got plenty of time. So close, no matter how far.
All right, guys, and that's the show.
Could it be much more from the heart? Nothing Else Matters is my number 1. That is my all-time favorite Metallica song.
It's great, man. It really is.
I love that song. It's deep. It makes you think. And it's like you said, it kind of has, and they're right though. When you said that they wanted more of a that they wanted it like a Queen, like they were inspired this by Queen. This would be a type of song I could hear Freddie Mercury sing.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm definitely going to pull up now Chris Stapleton's version of this after we're done.
And you're going to love it. I'm not. I would never steer you wrong. But yeah, for me, my number 1, my go-to song for this album, it's got to be Enter Sandman. Yeah. I love the video. It's just the creepy old man in the video. I mean, and then James Hetfield, Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. I mean, the whole thing is, and just the beat, boom, boom, boom. Like you just get fucking hype when you hear this fucking song.
You know what I hate about?
You cannot play this song.
One thing I hate about this song, I sleep with the radio on because
Yeah.
And I had that thing. I need a light on and the radio on. And when you wake up at 2:00 in the morning and the radio station you have on is playing Enter Sandman, that is not the right fucking song to hear when you're trying to go back to bed.
No, 8:00 in the morning, you don't want to hear that 8:00 in the morning. No. But it'll get you motivated to get up and go to fucking work and do something.
I didn't realize how, like, like back in the day, like in the 50s, there was a song, Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mr. Sandman, Bring Me a Dream, right? And it's like, the Sandman comes in and he sprinkles sleepy dust on you. No, this is the creepy motherfucker that's trying to kill you.
This was about what do they call it? Crib death.
Crib death.
Originally, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was
The
about crib
Sandman
death.
comes and kills the baby. Like that's what the song is about. Listen to the words when you hear the song.
Yeah, hush,
Crazy.
little baby, don't say a word, and never mind that noise you heard.
Just a beast under your bed.
In your closet, in your head. Okay, that's it. We lost subscribers, folks. We just lost subscribers.
Nah, but I mean, and it was really, it's not easy to put a list like that together. I mean, I know we only did 3, but I mean, there's not a bad song on this. There's not a bad song on this album. Every song on this album is great. But guys, anybody out there, drop a comment. Let me know what you like about this album. What was your favorite song on the album? What's your favorite 3? And what was your feeling when you first got this album? When you first heard it? That's what I want. I want to hear any kind of feedback.
And also, were you a Metallica fan when this came out?
Yeah. Did you become a Metallica fan after?
Or did you become a Metallica fan? Or were you a Metallica fan that gave up on them once this song came out and it became commercialized?
No, I'm interested in hearing anybody's feedback. But guys, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel by all means. Subscribe to my buddy Mike here, Mic'd Up Sports. If you like wrestling, we do a little wrestling podcast on there.
We'll be live tomorrow with the AEW Dynamite review.
We had about 5,000 different shows a week that we do.
Hey, but look, you got to admit though, me changing that format was a better idea.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
It's still not working. I mean, we still get no views and 3 views. It
doesn't matter. I don't care. We have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun.
And I got a bunch of haters out there.
So, guys, please drop a comment. Let me know what you liked about the album. Were you a Metallica fan prior or after the album? And what are your favorite songs from the album? How did you feel when you first heard the album? Drop a comment. Like I said, by all means, subscribe. Hit that like button for future. Hit the bell for future notifications. Hit the like button for future content. Subscribe for future content, rather. And I want to thank Mike for coming on. I want to thank whoever's out there watching. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, and don't go to sleep because the Sandman's coming.
Good night, guys.